Where did all of the iconic WoW items go? I can still remember their names. Ravager, Corpsemaker, Destiny, Nightblade, Thunderfury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker, Ice-Barbed Spear, Atiesh, Thunderfury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker, Staff of Jordan, Headmaster's Charge, the Ice Metal Barbute, the Lionheart Helm, Tarok's Quill, Ashbringer, Corrupted Ashbringer, and the list just keeps going on and on. These are names that evoke that sense of myth, legend, wonder, and nostalgia. I would recognize these items on strangers passing by on the road. Wow, that enhancement shaman has Corpsemaker at level 29, how lucky! They must do tons of damage. Oh, I almost forgot a weapon. Do you guys all fondly remember Savage Gladiator's Decapitator, or how about Uncanny Combatant's Polearm? No? Well, that's exactly my point. Since the sun set over the Wrath of the Lich King expansion, the era of iconic weapons and armor began to die. More and more with every passing expansion, there were less items that became iconic or reached a mythical status within the community. Items stopped being named as such as well, and they began to feel more generic, or their names were just loaded with adjectives. In other fantasy worlds, like Lord of the Rings, many of the swords that we know of are named. Sting, Orcrist, Glamdring. To wield one of these would feel amazing, and these blades have reached a mythical status along with their wielders. World of Warcraft used to be like this. Corpsemaker, Ravager, these are weapons with names. Sulfurous, Hand of Ragnaros, Thunderfury, Blessed Blade of the Windseeker, Zinrock, Destroyer of Worlds, these are weapons with titles. Compare that to Narubar Palace's Anubarash's Colossal Mandible. It just doesn't feel the same. So is it just naming conventions then that prevents these new weapons and armor from becoming icons? But Rotan, you might say, there are still named weapons like Firalath. And you're right, so it's not just the names, it's more than that. Let's explore what makes a World of Warcraft item iconic and why the current state of the game makes it near impossible to create that feeling again. A large detail that we cannot gloss over when looking at most of these iconic items is how unique they were and how long they were useful for. Let's take a look at Nightblade, for example. It does really great damage for a level 39 weapon, and its chance on hit effect sends out this cool shadow bolt that does insane damage. Not only does the effect look cool and feel pretty unique compared to other swords you'll be attacking with, the effect also matches the item name. Already, it's shaping up to be an iconic weapon. So it's a measly level 39 sword. I mean, how long can that really last us, especially while leveling? Well, the next reasonable upgrade would be Kang the Decapitator at level 44, but that weapon is notoriously hard to get and expensive, especially compared to Nightblade. Okay, so what's the next two-handed sword upgrade then? Warmonger is a good next chance. We don't get that till level 47. And if you can't get that and can only secure green items, the first green that beats Nightblade doesn't come until level 52. So at a minimum, you'll be using this sword for 5 to 13 levels, depending on your class, your luck, and the size of your wallet. That's almost a fourth of your entire leveling experience. And I chose one of these iconic items at random. Feral Druids are even worse and get a best-in-slot endgame item in the 20s. A side effect of this is we began to know these items well and have them become part of our character identity. We had them for dozens of hours, and it really became a memorable moment when we finally had to let go of our powerful epic weapon for another one. The turnover of these items was low. Now, one detail that you may have noticed about these items, and we would be remiss not to touch on specifically, is when we get them. Corpsemaker, as mentioned earlier, can be wielded as low as level 29. In fact, nearly every single item I've mentioned so far is obtainable and usable before max level. And some of them we use well into our playtime at max level and rarely, if ever, find a replacement. So tell me, in the last 4 to 5 expansions, how long did it take you when you hit max level to replace any given piece of gear? For me, the first green I receive at max level will easily replace any item that's in that slot. I mentioned the turnover earlier, and this fact alone makes it so that every single item has a high turnover rate in Modern WoW, and you're barely holding on to any item for very long at all, at max a single patch. Let's look at some current examples from the War Within. I had a heroic Quick Wick Candlestick last season, and it was awesome. A ton of haste on my warrior, it was great. And before the first reset of this new patch, I got a new trinket that replaced it immediately. Even the best items from the previous patch barely last a week into the new patch. There's one more piece I'd like to touch on here, and to me it may actually be the most important. It's what the items actually look like, their in-game models. Nightblade, Destiny, Corpsemaker, so on and so forth, they all had unique in-game models. So if you saw someone walking by with the Pendulum of Doom, there was no doubt that it was that weapon. Nothing else in the game looked like it. It was unmistakable. And the weapons looked pretty badass too. Compare that to the newest raid's two-handed axe, Dumpster Diver. Yes, it is unique, and yes, I think it is badass, but there's 6 different versions of it. Without looking it up, can you tell me which one of these is the mythic version, or the normal version, or which of these two are the PvP versions? I couldn't tell you. And when I see 100 warriors, paladins, and death knights running around with the same weapon just in different colors, it just doesn't feel as cool or special anymore. It brings it down to the level of something like a questing green or a blue. So there's a lot that makes an iconic item. Its name, when we get them, how long we use them for, how unique they are, and their unique in-game models. So why isn't Blizzard doing this anymore? Well, there's a few good reasons. Firstly, transmogrification. Added in Cataclysm, the ability to change the appearance of your gear at any time has been a beloved feature, and it's a large staple of modern WoW. It's led to some people, myself included, making the joke that World of Warcraft is a dress-up game. Personally, I love the transmog feature, and I have multiple saved transmog sets on most any character that I frequently play. The downside of this feature, though, is that it makes each appearance a little less special. Now from level 1, I can transmog my character to look like a max level badass and just equip my favorite set. Before, characters' armor started off weak and tattered at lower level and slowly got cooler and cooler as you leveled up. When you first came across that long cloak or that first epic weapon, it truly felt like a special moment, and it also could set you apart from other players you were playing with. Gone are the days of the mismatched leveling looks. Maybe that's a good thing. If I can just transmog Nightblade from level 1 and never change the appearance, it really doesn't feel that special anymore. Along with this idea that transmogrification devalues unique in-game models, another side effect of this system has come into play: recolors. Now with the idea of us being able to mix and match any piece of gear across the whole game, we want to make these cool sets that feel really cohesive, so that new staff from the newest raid may look awesome, and we want to use it, but its color just doesn't fit in with the rest of our set. So, wouldn't it be great if Blizzard made that same staff in 6 different colors, so that there's a greater chance that at least one of them fits into what we're wanting to use it with? Now, these recolors do come from different difficulties of the raid and PvP, so it isn't all there just because of transmog. It's there because there are way more difficulty levels now than there ever used to be, but that's another topic in and of itself. So besides transmog, there's another large concept that looms over this whole idea of having iconic, long-lasting items, and that's fun. A huge portion of the enjoyment that I get from RPGs in general is the idea of character progression. As I level up, I want to feel stronger, and now at max level, when new raids and new dungeons come out, I want to complete them and get stronger, and more easily clear through any other content. Now imagine if the newest raid came out and you completed it, the whole thing, even on mythic difficulty, and you found that none of the gear in the entire raid was better than what you had. That would feel like a huge bummer for me, and I would get demotivated to even play the newest content. Even back in Classic WoW, these iconic items could have this exact effect. It's actually a large smudge on the glory of these iconic items. They made you feel really powerful right when you achieved them, but then as you leveled from 39 to 52, you started to lose this overpowered feeling, and you returned more to a normal level of power relative to where you should be. But now, psychologically, you feel weak instead of just normal. And in those 13 levels, maybe 3 to 4 new dungeons got unlocked, and you could have cleared them all multiple times, but among all the loot tables, there were no upgrades. There's no sense in doing the dungeons, just keep grinding out levels. So, is there space today for long-lasting, iconic items? Well, with the current state of the game, I just don't think so. Blizzard tried this in Legion, but the weapons didn't feel special for me even after just a few weeks. When everyone else was wielding the Ashbringer, it was like, okay, whatever. And for me personally, I remember during the Legion expansion longing for some sort of upgrade or some sort of change. I just got bored staying with the same weapon for the whole expansion, no matter how powerful it was. Okay, so what if we made this new iconic item super, super rare? Well, with how min-maxed WoW is relative to the past, even having an extremely super rare iconic item would force many top players and top guilds into farming just for that specific weapon, and this could really wear away at the fun of these players. Before, an amazing drop like Destiny or Nightblade would have been an awesome moment on your journey to max level. And now the same type of drop would be in every single leveling guide, every single endgame raid guide, and every video explaining exactly how to farm it and to spend weeks and months doing so. And so the days of iconic items, these weapons of myth, the armor of champions, has faded. In its place, a new era is here to stay, where we all get to choose our own appearance, and each of us can look mythical in our own preferred way. It's not all bad, because now we live in an Azeroth where self-expression prevails and we get stronger every day. Thanks for watching, and take care.